Good morning, friends and traders. Welcome to the Market Forecast. I am Dan Hodgman. It is Wednesday, October 14th, our week. We're almost there. It is hump day. And markets are showing a little bit of movement here this morning. Like we said, no major numbers that were going to come out today. But we did have quite a bit of earnings coming out so far. The banks have been the movers. Goldman Sachs it's funny. I was looking through some of my sites this morning that I go through for news, and it always intrigues me, some of the adjectives that they come up with for some of these big moves or things that are happening. You know, when we first started seeing stocks breaking last February, March area, it was spills over, then it was dumps. They had just a plethora of adjectives they were using, and this morning I saw one that gave me a chuckle for Goldman Sachs. Goldman Sachs wallops the earnings. Goldman Sachs did pretty well. We do have Bank of America and Wells Fargo missing a little bit, and we still have United Airlines this afternoon, along with many, many others that have come out. Those are just a couple of the big ones out there worth noting. Again, couple vaccine companies have put a hold on their testings, their vaccine stuff that's going on. So that's kind of the reason we're starting to see possibly a little bit of a slowdown in these equity markets. Political drama heating up over this stimulus plan. Left, right, indifferent. Everyone wants to feel like they were victorious in this. So hopefully for the American people, they can get something through. That's kind of their job. I know the GOP offered up $1.8 trillion, which is a pretty huge number. And Pelosi rejected that one. So we'll see what continues to happen there. I'm going to continue to watch that stuff. What else do we got going on? That's the majority of our news. So we do have markets making some move here. Prime Day is still going on, and one of the other big headlines that's out there is Walmart. Walmart's going to be spreading out their Black Friday deals. Maybe it's COVID. Maybe they just don't want everyone and their mother in there fighting over things. But I'll be curious to see how that all plays out, especially with Black Friday. We're, almost a month away. Could be interesting. Who knows? Maybe we'll have a stimulus package go through and everyone's getting a $1,200 check, so Black Friday becomes even bigger. Who knows? We'll see what happens there. All right. At this point, let's just go ahead and take a look at these charts, see what we got going on here today, see where there's some opportunity, and let's go from there. And I do want to say good morning to everybody. Tanya, good morning. Marco, good morning. MSS Capital. Looking forward to another great trading expo today. I am too. I'm looking forward to it. Got a fun topic we're going to be covering during the expo today. Got quite a few presenters that are going to be there. It should be a really good time. If you're not signed up, make sure you check it out, topsteptrader.com. You can find it there, I believe. Looking forward to it. Level 2, good morning. James, that was reasonable beat. All right. Felix. London, there was some movement in some of these markets during the London session, no doubt about it. Charles, good morning. Christopher, good morning. Subconscious, Jimmy, John, patience game, absolutely. Kevin, Art, Felix, controlling my FOMO, absolutely. We have a number coming out tomorrow. That's right, tomorrow. I was thinking of for Wednesday, but the number comes out tomorrow. So yeah, just continue to be patient. Wait for those opportunities. Stalk a little bit. Alan, good morning. Level 2, Dan, the way the vaccine news came across yesterday. I swear, it was interesting. It was just trickling out, and then all of a sudden, it just hit everything. It's amazing how it came out. Mr. Shines, Mr. Channing, good morning. Mike, good morning. Love the news. Not that I've bet this would generally sell their bull announcement and buy the bear pronouncements. All right. Drasco, good morning. Andrea, good morning. Awesome, guys. Let's go ahead, starting with daily and crude here. Still very comfortable within our weekly kickoff levels. Again, just as a reminder, weekly kickoff low, 39.50, and weekly kickoff high, 41.70. Very comfortable with inside our bounds here. We've actually already, let's get close into this because we've already started to check some levels that I was looking at. First one, we had to get above 40, right? So if we can get through 40, and we can get through our gap from earlier this week. We broke through the gap. We got from 40 to 50. We broke above there. And now our next step was 60. Can we get to 60? We got to 60. And we're now at 80. We're now all the way up to 80. But don't worry. We have some levels up above. 4110. High consolidation area going back over the last couple weeks. And then above that. Above that, we can get all the way up to 4130. So if this thing really decides to go, those are some areas I'm keeping an eye on. Really has taken off here this last hour. Not even, more like the last 35 minutes, it's really taken off. If this does choose to turn around, those levels that we just talked about, 60, 40 to 50, those areas are going to come into play. If we can get through those and see this thing really start to turn around, just because I want to make sure we're covered on both sides. Settlement price down here at 40.20. Absolutely an opportunity. Market is not making that attempt right now. It is saying complete opposite, that it wants to go higher. But hey, if we're going to take in, or hang on, I'm going to finish my downside levels and then I'm going to touch on something about this. Downside, 39.50 weekly kickoff low. I have stuff pointing to 39.55 to 39.50. So still a pivotal area if this market decides to come back down here. And of course, 3,900. We're going to keep talking about that one. Now, this market is making a directional move to the upside. It is trending higher. It has broken out. Our job now as traders, if we're going to try and get in to the long side here, it's not getting in up here on highs. Just because maybe it's going to go higher. Maybe we're going to see this thing take off to $45. Who knows where it can go. We need to wait for that asymmetric opportunity where that market pulls back a little bit, gives us a chance to get in on this trend. If we were to hop in now, we're not putting our stop until well below this 58, right? This is where our candlestick started. This is where the low of this candlestick, the low of this first opening 8 minutes so far. We need to start putting our stop well below this. So we're looking stops more down 55 to 50. It's a lot of risk to get in hopes that this breakout continues. Now, if we want to get in, we're looking for that pullback. We're looking for this thing to give us some room to say, hey, I've given you some breathing room. I'm only risking a little bit of money here to get in on this trend. Because remember, crude oil has been telling us lately, regular trading hour ranges are tightening up. They are tighter. So our risk has to tighten up. We have to tighten up with the volatility of the market, right? Yes, equities, we are still kind of expanded our risk, but a lot of these markets have slowed down. Look at these currencies when we talk about them. Look at crude right now that when we talk about this. Yesterday's range, value area went from 37 down to 06, 31 ticks. You want to trade this and you're fading our extremes when our extremes are pretty defined, when we can look back at it in hindsight yesterday and saying, look, value area highs, 37 here. If I'm going to run that down to 06, it's 31 ticks. I'm going to tighten up my risk if I'm going to take that whole thing. And we can't expect to take the entire range there, right? So we got to be cautious. We want to be thinking about this stuff. How have these markets been reacting lately? So let's keep our risk tight. If we're going to get into these trades, wait for those pullbacks, wait for those breakdowns in the trending direction to get in on that directional move. All right, enough there. Next, S&P 500. We are seeing a little bit of life here so far. Up just slightly. Don't forget, weekly kickoff high. 35.45, still within realm, still an area I'm watching. And as a reminder, weekly kickoff low down here at 3,400. Things are slowing up and completely expected. We are falling short of all-time highs. Sellers have been coming in. We did see a good volume day yesterday to the downside. No doubt about that. But it makes total sense. On a down day, markets tend to bring in more volume. So, market has given up just slightly, but when we're still looking at this daily chart here, we're maintaining still a very strong trend to the upside. No doubt about that. I'm not concerned whatsoever about anything. This is a dip. Makes total sense, like Level 2 was pointing out yesterday. Could have been a rough one with the news, with the vaccine trials and everything coming out with that. So when we look a little bit closer what we got going on here in the S&P 500, first and foremost, settlement price right here, 3504.75. Couple things to keep in mind here today. What I'm going to be watching, my low side. We have multiple days of volume. We have multiple points of touch and reaction at this price. I'm going to be watching 34.95 to the low side. If I start to break below 95, maybe even a little lower, maybe it comes down to 90, and we really are starting to show some acceptance around that area, then I'll start to make some short time frame considerations to the breakdown. Right now, it's holding strong. We're kind of falling into a little bit of a channel, a little bit of a pattern, a little bit of a bull flag, a lot of things you can point out here. I like to just call it, we're consolidating. We're waiting for new news, new information to hit the wire here, right? And so what I'm going to be paying attention to, that 95, and I'm going to come up just above, kind of right between, more or less, I'm going to look at the range from yesterday's point of control here at 35.15 up to 35.19. That's going to be a range for me to be keeping an eye on the high side. If we can get above that, then we got some room. Then we're going to go start checking out possibly Monday's settlement price 33, maybe make an attempt towards that weekly kickoff high up here at 35.45 if we start to pick some directional. Right now, yesterday, range bound. Today, we are still well within yesterday's value area, yesterday's range. I'm going to be sticking with that range until this market tells me otherwise. That's what I'm seeing here right now. Range days, a little different than trending. On a range, we're fading extremes, keeping our risk a little bit tighter. Our profits, we're tightening those up a little bit, and we're just looking to kind of ping-pong it between the highs and lows. All right, next, let's go ahead and look at NASDAQ. Similar to the S&P 500. Had a little bit of a down day yesterday, but still maintaining great trend to the upside, just falling shy still of those all-time highs. We're not far off. These markets want to get there. Here we go. Eli Lilly antibody won't have substantial volume until March. Okay, so that's something worth thinking about. That's one of the vaccine companies that did put a pause on everything yesterday. So, like I was saying, NASDAQ still looking for some positive news at the wire to really get this thing going higher. We did have Prime Day going on yesterday, which helps the stock a little bit. We had Apple launching out all sorts of new phones. We'll see how that goes. First off, settlement price. Pretty much similar to prior day, right? We saw it on the daily chart there, barely a shade of red. Settlement price, 12,094 quarter. 4 points below Monday's settlement price. So this market, range bound. Still going to be keeping an eye on that. Right now, we are testing yesterday's value area high. It's been struggling to break above this 12,118, which, hey, happens to be right by that 115 we've been talking about all week long. Going to continue to keep an eye on that 115 as that market reacts around it. Now, if we break above, if we can get above this settlement value area high, I'm going to be checking out pretty much our overnight highs here. High volume node yesterday, right up by 171. 171, we'll keep it simple, call it 170, 12,170. If we get through that, we may see this market want to attempt to make new weekly highs right up here by 250. But again, right now I'm focusing on range. Right? That's what we want to be keeping an eye on. What's our range doing? This market has been range bound the last couple days. This one has been range bound more or less the entire week. I'm going to be kind of looking at Monday's value area for a little bit higher range. So we're looking up here at 196, and we're bringing it down to essentially 12,000. That's that kind of bigger range. We got to tighten things up for today. So settlement price going to be in a low worth keeping an eye on. Again, that is 12,094 quarter. Upside here, 12,171. just some areas to be keeping an eye on here within this range. But right now, pivotal spot if this thing can break through yesterday's value area. If it doesn't, maybe we start to see this thing roll over, come back around. Again, we're going to be waiting on new news to hit the wire here for these equity markets to make some sort of real want for directional move. If it's a stimulus thing, if it's something with coronavirus, who knows what it might be. We are definitely waiting for more information. Next, let's go ahead and look at gold, which is trying to recover a little bit of yesterday's losses, working our way back towards that weekly kickoff low. Reminder, 1924 weekly kickoff low. We are working our way there. I want to get right into the 30-minute chart because this thing, just like yesterday's, kind of been taken off here. All right, so here's what I have on gold, just to get through a couple things. We're not too far off. Talked about this level a couple times already this week. 1920, I like it. There is quite a bit of opportunity, time spent at 1920. That's what gets a little bit of my information on 1920. It's time spent at this price. I like it, and I have some decent volume nodes over the last couple months. So 1920 is a price worth keeping an eye on if we can keep going. If it gets through that, I have 1928. I know, big moves, right, to recover all of yesterday's losses. What happened to that concept of take the elevator down and then the stairs up and this thing take 3 or 4 days to recover those losses? That could still be in play. Right now, we are making quite a big move and working its way higher. So I wanted to touch on some of those levels I have up above. 1920, still a few bucks away. Now, if this thing does just completely turn around, we're up here at this 20 session moving average. If it does completely turn around, rotates over, don't forget, we have settlement price down here at 1894.60. 1894.60 is our settlement price from yesterday. But we have some stuff happening a little bit above that may slow this thing down if it does come back to give us some opportunity one way or the other. Yesterday's value area high up here at 1906. Below that, 1899. My model is saying 1899.90, so we'll just call it 1900. Good volume there, and decent amount of time traded at that price. So another area to keep in mind if this thing starts to roll over, and if for some reason it goes negative. My bottom level here that I'm watching, 1897. Again, that is 1897. So a couple areas to keep in mind, but right now we are directional, just like crude oil. We do not want to get in on highs. That's what's going to get us chopped up. We're chasing a market there. Keep in mind, in a directional market, don't feel bad if you end up, if this market trends higher and keeps going, and we get up to 1926, but it gives us a pullback to 1920, and that's your entry point. Don't get irritated because you didn't get in down here at 1913.60, 2 cents off the high, right? Or 20 cents, we can really call it. 20 cents right now, kind of off our high of the session. We're essentially trying to buy the highs. Don't be that guy. Be the smart trader that waits for that pullback where you can manage that risk and get in at a nice opportunistic level that's going to allow you to manage that risk to get in on the trade. We do not have to take the entire directional move. We don't have to take the whole thing. We just need to take little chunks to start to continue to grow those accounts. All right. Next, let's look at the currencies and we'll get on out of here. Euro's making a little bit of opening directional move, working its way towards that weekly kickoff low. We're not there yet, so that's going to be a level to keep an eye on. 117.90. When we look a little bit closer here, let's just take a quick glance. So market has attempted to get up there. We haven't made it quite yet. Now we're starting to see a little bit of a pullback. Is this something worth getting in on, or is this starting to tell us we're weakening up here? Well, when I look at the wick on that last 30-minute candlestick, it's telling me, all right, buyers are weakening. Sellers may be overpowering here. Let's hold out before I'm saying that this is just a pullback. Here's what I'll be looking at if this thing does continue to reverse. Settlement price, 117.60. Notice how that was such a pivotal area in the overnight session. Market continued to come up, broke off it, came back up, broke off it, came back up, broke, came back up, finally pushed through and got that springboard that we talk about what settlement really can be. All right, so if the market continues to roll over here, settlement price 117.60, high volume node from yesterday, aka point of control, just below it. Anything below that, I've got 117.51. 117.51 down here. All right, now if we continue to the upside, what can we look for? Well, like I said, 117.90. We like that. Above that, I have 11800. That's a couple of areas I'm keeping an eye on this market. A couple things to be noting. Keep an eye on that dollar. Dollar has taken a little bit of a hit here this morning. It's important to note those things. Europe, we are starting to see a slight rise in coronavirus across Europe. Countries are starting to reenact some of their shelter-in-place orders and things of that nature. So we want to be conscious of that. Keep those things in mind if we're trading the euro. And the yen. Yen has been moving. It's been kind of giving us some ranges here. So if you're a yen trader, you're having a little bit of fun. We have recovered yesterday's losses pretty comfortably so far here today, and this thing is pushing higher. Now, what are we seeing overall? Market is taking off right now, no doubt about it. We are approaching so I've got, when I sat down this morning, I said 95.07. Let's see if we can push through 95.07. If we push through 95.07 and we see good volume continue to come in, I think there's a possibility that this market may want to go find 95.36. It's a swing high from October 2nd. So that's that kind of location that has my attention way up above if this thing really decides to take off. Now, let's keep in mind, historically, the yen has been relatively slow throughout the regular trading hours. So let's be cautious there and thinking that this thing can get all the way up there. If we turn around, we have settlement price all the way down here at 94.85. And our value area from yesterday is even lower than that. So that's just a couple things worth keeping an eye on. To get inside of all of this, remember, we're coming back all the way to that range that we've been watching. That has been quite interesting. The overnight session gave us a nice little break off of it. 94, 98 right here. Just an area to keep an eye on. All right, guys. We're getting close to the equity open here. I just want to see what we got in here. Level 2, we keep looking at the same levels, huh? Marco, you're welcome. Tanya, Hoag's doing well. Talked to him quite a bit yesterday. He's feeling all right, and hopefully he's back before we know it. He's doing well, guys. He's doing well. I appreciate that, and I'm going to send your guys' best wishes to him. Felix, you're welcome. And, yeah, guys, I appreciate all your wishes here for Hoag. I will make sure he knows. I know he's missing you guys, and hopefully, like I said, he's back before we know it, and he's feeling better. So, on this note, guys, we got a couple minutes until equity's open. I want to be there for it. I got to refill my coffee, so I'm going to sign on out of here. I hope to see you guys in the expo. I'll be in there. John is not going to be joining me, so it's just going to be me. Bring your questions. We're going to talk trade management a little bit more. I really think trade management is a worthwhile subject, so I'll be touching on that today, and I look forward to it. Other than that, I will, if I don't see you there, I'll see you at 3 o'clock this afternoon for the market recap. So until then, you guys stay safe. Wash your hands, trade well, and I will see you guys